precursor to more storms coming in, and this is that precursor to that final line that's coming in as the cold front approaches. And it looks like we're just getting in some fresh video of some hail in Forestdale, Alabama. It looks like, if we're just kind of guesstimating based on this photo, maybe some pea-size hail coming down in Forestdale. So that would be below severe limits, but nevertheless that can certainly get your attention, especially if you have a roof where you have the acoustics really good and get that pea-size hail. And there it is, a great photo. We always love too if you can compare it with something like a quarter, dime, nickel, what have you, if it's big enough, golf ball size. Certainly haven't seen any reports of that today though. And let's see, I think we've got some more. Oh, here's a nice photo. Now sometimes clouds like this can look ominous. We call these scud clouds, so it's not necessarily anything that would warrant concern, but sometimes you'll see the lowering of the cloud base when you have a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, and so the clouds can develop a little closer to the ground when you do have that moisture at the surface and aloft, kind of similar to one another. And of course, you're always going to watch for these too, for the possibility of what could be a wall cloud. This looks like this is at the Highland Super Stop, sent in from Amber Jackson. And here's a nice one, changing it up a little bit, a beautiful photo of a faint rainbow that was spotted in Blount County on Hog Mountain. So it's very faint, but we'll take what we can get on a day like this when it's been fairly stormy. So just getting in some dark clouds, even this one, a cool cloud formation. A lot of times too, you'll see in the upper levels of the atmosphere, if you have a storm far off in the distance, we actually saw this here at WBRC today, you'll get these clouds streaming in the higher levels of the atmosphere ahead of the storm approaching, and that's actually the anvil of that thunderstorm cloud, that cumulonimbus cloud. So we've got beautiful views here across the countryside too with those clouds. But again, if you have any cool photos, you can send them in to us on the WBRC First Alert weather app, and we'll always be checking on social media too. But so far so good. Like we've been saying, it does look like that severe threat is going to be diminishing over the next few hours, Wes.
Yeah, that's a very good sign, Lauren. And you know, it's amazing, Lauren, we'll keep you in the double box here for a second. I just wanted to talk to you about a lot of times when we see these severe thunderstorms, that a lot of folks think that that's the only way you can get hail production out of a storm, right, is it has to be severe. But many times you can have, like what we saw in Forestdale, big hail producers, almost in some cases looks like it snowed outside.
Right, and I mean, if you think about the formal definition of a severe thunderstorm, which, you know, your average Joe probably isn't going to be like, oh, well, severe thunderstorm means this and this, but it's hail up to 1 inch in diameter. And so a lot of times you can have hail smaller than that, and that doesn't mean it's a severe thunderstorm. But I mean, cool to see, and if it doesn't cause damage, that's okay.
Yeah, that was actually, I guess, the past few years it was upgraded. It was nickel-size hailstones, right, and then it was upgraded to roughly, if you take a quarter and used to have hailstones the size of a quarter, that is a severe thunderstorm, and that's the kind of storms we're watching out for. But a watch is in effect. Lauren checking those reports, and be sure to keep sending those in. We'll share those right here on First Alert Weather Extra as we track this line of storms moving through. At the moment, what we're looking at is speaking of the hail products with the First Alert AccuTrack system, this shows the swath of where we did get a lot of those indications by radar, and this is right there around Forestdale. I was noticing some of those scans here across Jefferson County. You can see around Mulga, that's out around the Adamsville area, Forestdale, Bayview Lake, those communities around Mulga and points to the east. North Birmingham, that's that strong storm we were tracking. We had nickel-sized hailstones reported at the airport. We saw some video in Forestdale, and that's lining up nicely there with the radar, that one strong storm that moved through. And that was one of the big concerns. North of Aniana, we had some reports that one storm that went severe, and that one moved into Etowah County. And let's see what the current radar looks like here. I tell you, these storms have weakened quite a bit. Looks like around Center we're still getting some heavier rainfall, but this is far from severe based on what I'm seeing here. Things have really settled down around Center and Weiss Lake, Cedar Bluff, those areas getting some heavy rain. No, Jill, do we have lightning turned on here? So we got lightning turned on, the lightning detection, no lightning showing up. You know, if you have the weather app, I got one of those lightning alerts a few moments ago. You'll get the alert lightning within a mile of your vicinity. So that's a great tool to have. You can download that for free, the WBRC weather app. Get those free lightning alerts. And summertime coming up and late spring into the summer, those are the times you really want that. You get those afternoon storms almost on a daily basis around here. And checking out parts of Shelby County, we had a round of storms early in the day. We ended up around Alabaster, measured about 2 inches of rain. We had a flood advisory. I'm not too concerned about this producing. I mean, you can see this is very highly localized, just basically a few scattered showers right now over Shelby County. And as this moves on off to the north and east, I'm not too concerned about that, you know, increasing the risk for any flooding there across Shelby County. There's the cold front. Jill is drawing that on the screen. Utah back into Sumter County. You can see that heavier rainfall that stretches back from Utah and back into Demopolis. Jill, if you want to talk a little bit about, I know we got some cooler weather coming in this weekend. We're talking about Saturday morning and Sunday morning. One of the next big things, we're probably going to have a frost, even some freezing temperatures around here.
Yeah, that is certainly going to be the case. So we're going to be talking about those temperatures probably getting down into the 30s. I'll pull up some graphics that we have regarding the temperature forecast for Saturday morning and also for Sunday morning. And we're talking about, I think Saturday now it looks like the clouds may break up enough that we could see enough of a clear sky and light enough winds that we'll see some spots dipping down into that frosty range. We're talking about those temperatures that get to 36 or colder. You can get frost to form right at the surface because it is a little bit colder down lower. A lot of these temperatures are measured about 6 feet above the ground. So again, patchy frost will be possible on Saturday morning. Let's take a look at Sunday morning, which we think is going to be the colder morning. There will be high pressure in control that particular morning. And again, those low temperatures around 34 Birmingham, 29, not impossible up towards center, a little bit colder off to the north and east. So sensitive plants, definitely we need to protect those this weekend. Again, I haven't done any planting yet. I have not put out my plants yet. I am waiting because I know it seems like we've had, you know, a longer cool spell, so to say. We've seen these cool downs and we're not quite out of that spring pattern. I don't think we're making that turn towards we're just going to be hot after this. So, you know, I still see going into next week, we talked about, you know, Wes, that we're going to go beyond the 7-day and we may see more storms returning. But before that, we have some chillier weather this weekend. There's a lot happening. We got Barron's baseball starts off on Friday, their home opener. Just going to be cool for that, but you know, it's exciting time. So again, we do have some chillier air on the way, but what we're seeing right now is that cold front marching across the state. And once that passes through, you're done with any possibility of a thunderstorm developing and really not seeing a whole lot. We're getting into the time of the day where the sun is starting to go down. We're losing some of that instability. Yep. And so this is kind of performing as we anticipate. Once that sun goes down, you kind of lose the oomph.
Yeah, interesting things can happen when you get around sunset. I know we've talked with a lot of experts about, you know, some of the storm characteristics. When you do have severe storms that are happening, sometimes that can cause some of those storms to start to rotate a little bit more. But in situations like this, when we lose the sunshine, it's allowing some of these storms to weaken. I wanted to show you this, Jill. I just got this in from one of our producers, Lachlan. This is in Maplesville earlier. Look at the hail coming down. Oh, wow. I mean, that's not far from quarter size. That's
probably nickel, you think? Probably close to that at least.
Yeah, close to nickel size. Yeah, we need to share this with the National Weather Service. And by the way, anytime you send those, as Jill and Lauren mentioned, you share those photos and those reports with us. We share that with the National Weather Service, but that can help us gauge what kind of storm we're dealing with. Yeah, that's an intense storm, but that's.
I mean, they did have a strong storm advisory down there, a special weather statement, so might have matched up. Again, it's hard to tell looking, you know, at the video. And folks, you know, we love to see your videos and pictures. If you could hold the phone horizontal we would get to see so much more.
Yeah, you turn it the other way. Yeah, but listen, we want you safe, and this is in Maplesville. That's along Highway 82. This is south of Birmingham, south of Shelby County. This was from earlier. This is a storm to the west of Clanton. Okay, this is to the west of Clanton, west of Isabella, and that was from an earlier storm. That's just some more ground truth that we're getting in from those storms that happened earlier. But seeing a lot of video, a lot of reports like that. It's 6:49. We're going to stay with you here as we continue this. You're watching First Alert Weather Extra. You can catch our program streaming each day from 6:30 to 7 o'clock on our streaming channels. I know a lot of folks are watching us right now on the First Alert Weather app, but also if you have Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, we actually have an app for that you can download and watch our streaming channel, and we're only one component of that. You can watch the news, you can watch all kinds of Absolutely Alabama episodes. So just letting you know about that, why we are here right now. We're filling our First Alert Weather Extra program with some storm tracking and tracking this weather that's moving across Alabama. And I'm happy to report, well, you see it here, Tuscaloosa and Jefferson County and Blount counties all cleared away from the severe thunderstorm watch. So areas to the south now, these southeastern zones, we're going to continue to watch it between next few hours, and at the moment, I just don't see a lot happening here based on the latest radar trends. Jill, this may continue to behave. I know we wanted to bring in Lauren. Lauren was going to talk a little bit about the setup for next week. We're talking about a chance for some storms next week, perhaps around Tuesday and Wednesday. It looked like some of the severe weather parameters with next week's system. I know we don't want to hear that right now. We don't want to hear more storms in the forecast, but it did look like that severe risk for next week may set up a bit further to the west direction. But we're going to check in with Lauren here coming up to get an update on that. Jill, what are you seeing? Let's go into this storm. I guess kind of the bookends of this lines where we actually see the higher reflectivities at the moment. I mean, we can look at what's going on in Greene County, maybe take a look from Birmingham, and then from Columbus. I know we're looking higher up into the storm. That may have an impact on why these look a little bit more intense here. Let's see, there's Epps and over towards Braggville area. Just to show you, this is non-severe again, but this is one of the storms with the heavier rainfall that we have at the moment, and this is tracking to the southeast towards Demopolis. So that Demopolis, get ready, Forkland areas for some heavy rainfall, non-severe, but as we've seen, you can see the storm attributes that we're bringing up. Looking at the top, 35,000 foot top on this, hail size about ½ inch, but a 90% chance we got some ½ inch hailstones falling within this storm based on the latest radar scan. BTI, that is the Barron Tornado Index, the threat index that we utilize when we're talking about severe storms, basically looking at storms on a scale of 0 to 10. First Alert Weather Day kind of set up. We've got numerous warnings, kind of like what we saw last week. We ended up with over 10 tornado warnings. When we get in those situations, sometimes we can see that BTI jump above a 5. So looking at this, you know, that's one thing to pay attention to is if we see that number starting to go up or going down, it can tell us if this storm is strengthening or weakening. So that's something that we watch with these storms. And again, we're zoomed in over the southwest part of the coverage area for some of these stronger storms and heavier rainfall. Birmingham right now, no warnings, no watch in place. The severe threat, it is over. Just one little slither of rain moving through Shelby County, but we're going to get through this with very little impact. And there are some pop-ups trying to happen out ahead of this, just not seeing much at all with this particular setup. Center, a little bit of rain. I think I see a couple, it looks like a couple of lightning strikes right around Galesville out here along the state line, but around Weiss Lake at the moment, this is just one little downpour. Actually, there we go. I can see the lightning, so we are getting some lightning in there. I couldn't see I don't think we had lightning. Did we have the lightning layer turn on?
Just had it really small.
Oh, really
sometimes
small. Okay.
It can get overbearing. So yeah, just made it a little bit bigger, so now we can see it.
Okay, so folks are probably they're saying, "What are you talking about, Wes?" I'm getting a lightning alert right now on my weather app. So yeah, we're getting some lightning. You can see it. You certainly don't want to be out on Weiss Lake, but you can see some big time lightning happening back across Georgia. Did they actually drop the tornado watch that was in effect?
Yeah, well, northeast, and yeah, I'm not seeing it. They dropped it there and they shifted it back down towards South Georgia,
okay.
And then it looks like, a little part of maybe South Carolina. So that's where the new tornado watch has been shifted. So
there was a watch, right? I know there was a watch there in central areas, so they shifted that south. Look, still seeing that tornado warning in areas back to the south.
I'll do a lapse. You're right. There was just to the east a little bit of a watch, so that has gone away.
So that's going away. So if you have travel interest traveling over towards the Atlanta area, no concern about the tornado threat kind of ramping up in that part of the coverage area. But all this pressing on to the south. I want to go now to meteorologist Lauren Linehan. Lauren standing by. And Lauren, we were talking about next week, and since we're here on First Alert Weather Extra, give us some good news. I know you're looking at that latest data regarding next week. I know we're still talking storms. What are we thinking?
Well, I gotta say, Wes, what we're seeing thus far doesn't look overly impressive in the data for next week. Of course, we know as we get farther in time and begin to see some even better data coming in, that can change. But let's check out that next big thing. We are expecting at least 2 rounds of rain and storms for Tuesday and Wednesday. Right now, Tuesday mainly looks to be some scattered showers. We're just not seeing a lot of oomph in the atmosphere to support much in the way of widespread thunderstorms, but we can at least account for some scattered showers that day. And then as we go into Wednesday, it's not out of the question that we could see some storms in the mix. Notice on both of these days that we have winds coming in out of the south, southeast. So that's helping to pull in that milder, slightly more unstable air from the Gulf of Mexico. But it doesn't look like anything is really standing out in terms of a widespread severe threat. One of the big things we look at when we are forecasting severe weather is what is the wind energy in the atmosphere like? Do we have any wind shear, a difference in wind speed or direction with winds at the surface and higher up, because that can create the spin in the atmosphere? And do we have enough energy, that storm fuel that can help to propel and energize these storms? So here we are Tuesday morning, looking pretty quiet, uneventful across central Alabama. But then we begin to see the aquas and greens beginning to get a little closer to West Alabama throughout the day. It still looks like on Tuesday the better ingredients for any type of severe weather would be well to the west of us. And as we go forward in time, getting into Wednesday, when we could potentially see a better chance of thunderstorms, even then we begin to see some of that energy moving northward from the Gulf, seeing a little bit of wind shear, but I think a lot of that upper level energy that could help to provide more support to these storms as well. That upper level wind energy does seem to be displaced off to the north and west. So it's promising that we're looking at this and not seeing anything that's really standing out or grabbing our attention. On Wednesday as well, it looks like the better ingredients would still be to the west of us. Of course, we always wonder, okay, how far to the west? Because we still have our areas in West Alabama. I would say at best a low end severe risk next Wednesday, but this is still a week out. We always tell you things can and will change. So we have a responsibility here to communicate the science, that risk to you, and try to communicate it well, clear and concisely. But we also challenge you as our viewers to be a good weather consumer. Make sure that you're checking the dates on social media posts that we post. We always try to put a timestamp at least, because we know how those social media algorithms are. They do not favor something that you just posted being at the top of your news feed, right? You can see stuff from 3 days ago. So we want to make sure that you are getting that most reliable information so you can make the best decisions for you and your family when it does come to severe weather, guys.
All right, Lauren, we'll be watching next week, and still plenty of time to keep an eye on that, and it's probably going to change quite a bit as we get a little bit closer, but it is springtime. It's April in Alabama, so we pay close attention to those storm systems in the long range. Just looking at the setup here, I'm not too concerned about any major storms out of this. I know we have a severe thunderstorm watch, but the weather has really settled down. Looks like we're seeing over the next, is this the next 60 minutes? What are we looking at here, Jill?
This is the national radar.
Okay, national radar. So, I mean, we're looking at the composite, which is a summation of all the different radar levels, and it tends to even look over aggressive and just not a lot happening. There's going to be some brief downpours. And in fact, northern Shelby County, severe threat over. Centerville, severe threat is over for us. Severe threat is over for Utah, northern Sumter County. I'll sound the all clear for Gadsden, Jacksonville, Center. Severe threat is over for us. Let's back that view out one more time, Jill. I just want to show what's going on with that national view. You can see what's happening. We've got another MCS sort of setup that's developing back in here around Georgia. See right there, we've got that cluster of storms, and that's the big show. I think this is what perhaps some of the model data was picking up on, and looks like a lot of those stronger to severe storms are really ramping up in areas back to the east. And then that one tornado warning, if you have loved ones, friends there in South Georgia, looks like a very intense storm. These tornadic storms have meant business here across Georgia, and also in the parts of the Carolinas. We had some video from WTOC, a lot of tornado video coming in from yesterday with some of those storms. But Tuscaloosa in the clear, basically Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, and Gadsden, again, I can sound the all clear. The strongest storm we have in our area at the moment is right there along the Greene, Sumter County line, pushing south towards Demopolis. We're going to have some heavy rain, some loud rumbles as this moves on south through Demopolis, but keep it on WBRC Fox 6. If we see anything that's anything that grabs our attention, looks suspicious, I'll certainly break in, let you know about it on television. But for now, what we're going to do is sign off here on First Alert Weather Extra. We'll be back with the news tonight and updates. This watch set to expire at 9 o'clock tonight. Stay with WBRC Fox 6, and we'll see you tonight at 9, 9:30, and 10.